This is part 2 of the Eternals video. If you have not seen part 1 and you're seeing this, you are currently in the wrong place. If that is the case, try the link in the description or the pinned comment below, or try clicking here.
You're an Eternal, the greatest warrior of Olympia.
I know this is technically for Athena's benefit, but we are 50 minutes into this movie and are still just getting through the backstories of these characters. It's almost as if introducing 13 new super beings in one film wasn't a great idea.
Really? Because I've never heard this criticism for any of the X-Men films. Besides, why would you show up to a movie titled Eternals and not expect the film to spend time explaining who they are and where they've been the whole time? It's like you're expecting something else to be the plot of this film when they are the plot of the film.
Thor used to follow me around when he was a little kid. Now he's a famous Avenger and won't return my calls.
Wait, when were you ever in Asgard? Or even remember Asgard if you were there? This movie made very plain that you woke up to defend Earth 7,000 years ago and you have no idea you've been used thousands of times to defend other planets because your memory's been wiped.
Hey, Jeremy, you realize Thor is a Norse god, right? Norse, as in the culture of the Nordic people of present-day Scandinavia. Yes, the aliens known as Asgardians went to those regions in the past, and that's where the legends for those gods come from. It was during those visits to Earth that Kingo met young Thor. How difficult was that?
Every billion years, new Celestials must be born.
More story time! I mean, I don't envy the job this movie has to do. There's a huge amount of backstory to communicate here, but maybe that's why we would have been better off with a multi-part TV series instead of this weird in-between phases movie that no one was really ready for.
I don't know, man. The one thing I really hate about the Disney Plus MCU shows is waiting a week for the next episode so they can drip feed me information. I kind of like the lore-dense nature of a 2-hour-long MCU movie. So the sin here is advocating for me not finding out what happens to Cersei and the gang over the span of 6 weeks.
Also, if Tiamat needs as many human lives as possible to be born, and being born results in the destruction of the planet, the non-interference rule makes even less sense. Interfere away! Do whatever it takes to pump those human numbers up!
You're not paying attention to what the movie is trying to tell you. The Celestials operate on a timescale that is far beyond the comprehension of most people, which is in the hundreds of millions to billions of years. Look at the population of our own real world over time. There have been countless wars over the millennia that humans have existed on this planet, and yet there is a constant and steady increase in the population. That's just a couple thousand years. Again, Celestials deal in the hundreds of millions. The wars that happen on this planet are what equate to seconds for them. Beyond that, the Eternals themselves have no idea this is the plan, and if they were told this was the plan, their attachment to humanity would potentially cause them to fight against this plan. You know, kind of like what happens in this movie?
Also, wouldn't this also mean that the Celestials would have wanted the Eternals to prevent Thanos from blipping away half the population?
The Celestials would have had to know that was Thanos' plan. As I told you years ago, Thanos waited until Ego died to make his move for the Infinity Gems, which suggests Thanos had knowledge of the Celestials and actively attempted to avoid alerting them. But even if they knew of Thanos' plan, what do they care? Unlike the Deviants, Thanos wasn't trying to wipe out all life, only half of it. So they could simply wait a couple hundred or 1,000 years for the population to return and continue on with their grand design. The only person with a flawed plan here was Thanos, as he clearly didn't anticipate using the gems would nearly kill him, meaning his plan would fail in the next 1,000 years or so anyway.
Celestials use energy gathered from host planets to create suns, generating gravity, heat, and light for new galaxies to form.
Did Marvel just casually slip its version of the Big Bang Theory, the origin of the species, and the f***ing Bible into this movie?
If you needed this movie's explanation for you to realize gods are a man-made concept in the MCU, what the hell did you think Thor was? I mean, why is this your wake-up call?
It is here that I built and programmed the Eternals.
If the Eternals are all android robot things, couldn't Arishem have presumably programmed them to be okay with the emergence? Why give them free will at all if they've been created to fulfill a specific mission?
Because it has worked so far. Why change something that has worked for millions of years? You're missing that Arishem is explaining the true purpose of the Eternals, to stop the Deviants from preventing the emergence of Celestials. Cersei believed they were on a humanitarian mission when they are actually there as a pesticide.
They are stored here.
Why do you keep them?
I keep them in order to study the Deviants.
So the most powerful being in the universe needs an external hard drive to get its research done?
Aside from the fact that this is a literal forge, the problem is that Jeremy is assuming the Celestials are all powerful and cannot make mistakes or even be inquisitive about things in the universe. In Guardians Volume 2, we saw how flawed Celestials can be, like with Ego and his genocidal goal. Nowhere is the literal head of a Celestial, meaning he got caught lacking by Null. In this movie, Arishem admits to making a mistake with the Deviants. So my point is that it's dumb to point out that Arishem is the most powerful being in the universe, because power does not preclude the possibility of learning from one's mistakes.
Every celestial host planet has its own predators. I first sent the deviants to exterminate them, so intelligent life could grow.
Okay, so once the deviants evolved and became uncontrollable, why did you keep sending them to planets to kill the natural predators? Why didn't you just start sending Eternals to do that job? Do planets automatically come with deviants?
That is not what he said at all. Once the deviants got out of control, he created the Eternals to eliminate them. They were already there. Where the f*** are you getting that he kept sending out-of-control deviants to host planets?
I've just been told I've been sent on a suicide mission for the past 7,000 years.
What part of it is a suicide mission? After the deviants are gone and the emergence starts, don't they get picked up, reset, sent on a new mission?
But this Druig won't be the same on his new mission. Do you not remember the earlier scene where Druig made a big deal about wiping Thena's memory, which caused the breakup of the team? That's what he means.
Come on. You know who you are. You're Athena, goddess of war.
Yes, because it's as easy as that to talk yourself out of a millennia-spanning mental illness.
Pretty sure Gilgamesh was trying to make her feel better, but whatevs.
Do the laser eyes take time to charge? Do they cause Icarus pain? I really don't know why he isn't continuously zapping the monster from Annihilation, but by this point I guess I shouldn't be surprised at Marvel for having no interest in explaining who can do what or why to who or how often.
I tend to think movies show you what is important for the audience to understand. Like, the reason Icarus stopped firing his heat vision was because he killed the deviant he was fighting, but got ambushed by a second. It will never cease to amaze me that you can skip and complain whenever a movie tries to explain something, and then bitch when they don't explain something.
These homogeneous beings that have absolutely no other motivation than to kill are just not all that satisfying to see get beat. They don't have any particular traits that make them all that menacing, because the Eternals have a clear advantage. This isn't like Alien or Predator where the humans are outmatched and they have to use their wits or something.
He says, while showing a deviant that literally kills multiple Eternals and wins this specific fight because he's absorbed multiple abilities from the Eternals.
That Hadouken only took about 15 seconds to charge up and completely lobotomize the deviant, but for some reason, we never see Kingo use this ridiculously OP power ever again.
Probably because this is the very last fight we see Kingo participate in the film.
It's one thing when you can't aim with a gun. It's an entirely different thing when you can't aim with your eyes.
Yet another instance of Jeremy doesn't know shit about anything. You can actually use eye tracking in certain first-person shooter games, but along with needing your eyes to process visual information, the problem is that your eyes are constantly making micro-adjustments so that you don't become blind to static objects. This results in worse performance than regular hand-eye coordination in the vast majority of cases, which of course means trying to aim lasers with your eyes is not as easy as look at the thing, especially because those beams have a specific width.
I don't understand why Arsham can't just make another Gilgamesh. When he showed Circe how the sausage was made earlier, there were thousands of Eternals ready to go. And since these movies play fast and loose with interstellar travel, it shouldn't be too hard to order a new train to Busan and have him sent to Earth immediately.
All I heard was your pronunciation of Busan, and I don't like it.
Dad, that's Superman!
Look here, asshole, I've already pointed out that Icarus is Superman. I even made a great joke about the Snyder Cut. I don't need you acknowledging that shit and fucking everything up.
Jeremy yells at the screen cliche.
Icarus is now reading a Star Wars comic, which means Disney exists in this universe, which means Marvel exists, which means CinemaSins videos about Disney and Marvel also exist, which means I should really stop this video right now. Not because my brain is understandably broken, but because Arasham is likely listening to every word I'm saying.
I'm going to ignore the BS about CinemaSins having to exist in the MCU because Star Wars does, to point out that Star Wars was already mentioned to exist in Civil War. Spider-Man literally defeats Ant-Man using the technique shown on Hoth.
I don't use my powers anymore. You sure?
Was there not a better way to check than to risk blowing a hole in the side of the man's house?
Which is what the movie itself says in this scene.
Icarus is an icky dick to IKEA.
And in this scene.
I don't know how any of this works, but wasn't the Domo completely underground? How has Makari been living on this ship for centuries? Was there a secret opening?
You asked that question as if the Eternals aren't immortals. What do you mean, how has she been living on this ship for centuries?
A Unimind.
I'm wondering, can you assholes try to call Doctor Strange and see if he can help with this? That guy took on a god, for Christ's sake.
Since Tony Stark is dead, Jeremy will now switch to whining that MCU movies don't have Doctor Strange solving every problem.
Also, Phastos manages to ex machina this solution so fast it makes Tony Stark inventing time travel look... Sorry, I couldn't get through that. Nothing is dumber than Stark inventing time travel overnight, so 10 more sins for Endgame.
Whole lot of nonsense here. First of all, Tony Stark didn't invent time travel in one night. Scott Lang told him about the time vortexes in the quantum realm, so all he had to do was figure out a way to navigate them. What he invented was the time-space GPS, which is a terrible name, but still, that's not inventing time travel. Next, Festus is the most intelligent being on MCU Earth, so if Tony can figure out how to navigate time vortexes, Festus creating the Unimind is nothing. Third, you said 10 sins for Endgame, but you're giving them to Eternals. And lastly, you laughed.
But the people of this planet brought everyone back with a snap of a finger.
Well, it was Iron Man, if I recall, and several people from other planets who helped out. That didn't really have anything to do with the world population being inherently good. I think he just wanted to tie your story in with the other Marvel movies.
The point of that line wasn't that the people of Earth are inherently good. The point is that she's fallen in love with Earth and its people.
I have seen them fight and lie and kill, but I have also seen them laugh and love.
This is the reason why Ajax doesn't want the emergence to happen, because humans do bad things, but do a lot of good things too. That's the f***ing reason. She somehow never experienced this before she landed on Earth. Millions of f***ing years. I feel bad for interstellar life if we're the ones who set the best example.
We? What's this we? This movie is not our reality, Jeremy. Stop talking to movies as if you're part of it. You sound like the silly people that say we when referring to their favorite sports teams. That's me. I am silly people.
I still have faith in Arishem, but I refuse to hurt any of you for my beliefs.
Why does Kingo go neutral here? If anyone in the Eternals is a slam dunk pro-human character, it's him. But he somehow wants to do Arishem's dirty work, which I still haven't decided if it's all that dirty. It would have been interesting to see more of a 50-50 split among the Eternals, certainly more believable than the sides picked in Civil War.
Asking why Kingo goes neutral here shows that you haven't been paying attention. Earlier, he explicitly states his love for humans. In a scene right before this one, he states quite clearly that the birth of a Celestial means trillions of other planets and untold numbers of lives, meaning he's very good at the trolley problem.
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto, motto in my day.
Jeremy sings in a video cliche.
I could have used a lot more Makari in this movie is all I'm saying.
I agree. She's one of the best parts of this movie and a better Flash than any DC movie thus far. So why not remove a sin for her being awesome when she does appear?
A good portion of the next 20 minutes will be super beings fighting super beings with no discernible way of telling who is hurting who, or if any hurting is actually possible. It certainly is pretty to look at. Am I the only one who is tired of having a little to nothing invested in these Marvel climaxes?
You could always stop watching and reviewing them. I mean, no one is forcing you to watch these movies or make videos about them, but they keep making you money, so that's why you won't. And I'm not knocking the hustle, but I am saying that you are just as bad with these bland and lifeless criticisms.
I've been wanting to clip your wings for a long time, Icarus!
What, you mean even before the reveal that he was a bad guy? For what f***ing reason?
Aside from the fact that Icarus is and has been kind of a dick throughout the millennia, did you not see him destroy his IKEA table? You know how long that shit takes to pull out one of those thin-ass boxes?
Because of them, now I want to know what it feels like to grow up. You get to start over somewhere new.
Druig X rocket ya!
Sitting this scene.
And just like f***ing Civil War, everyone is friends again for no explicable reason other than we need to wrap this shit up. I'm in full support, but it's still f***ing dumb and anticlimactic.
Wait, everyone ended up friends again? You and I remember Civil War very differently.
I think when we find, the Eternals out there, they'll accept the truth the way we did.
That's a great sentiment, but the last time we got a promise like this at the end of a movie, we got The Matrix Reloaded.
Which is still one of the best movies in the franchise. It ain't better than the first, but how many sci-fi movies are?
This movie is really long.
And because of sins like these, so is this video, Jeremy.
Sure you're ready for that, Mr. Whitman?
The movie introduces a third new character in the last 15 minutes, and he's so new and exciting he's already been played 3 times by Wesley Snipes.
Imagine watching a Marvel movie in 2022 and still being upset that they have stingers during and after the credits. And on top of that, at the one that introduces freaking Blade.
Motherfucker, are you out of your damn mind?
Hi, I can't come up with my own concept, so I'm going to ride the coattails of an established, YouTube channels because I have no talent.
Thanks for letting us know, Midgard. Tell us how it goes when you get it up and running.
You're cringe.
My cringe is what? Aw, come on, don't leave me hanging, Sparksy. What is my cringe?
This comes of as you trying to make money of someone else's video.
There is no try.
Karate is not Japanese. It is Okinawan.
Okay, but where the fuck is Okinawa?
Actually, they aren't deleted scenes. It's the extended edition.
So, deleted scenes.
Got him!
You lose!
The Hadouken is not older than the Kamehameha Wave. Dragon Ball came out in 1984 and Street Fighter in 1987, and even if you throw in dev time for Street Fighter to be made, Dragon Ball still beats it to the punch.
This criticism of my video was very popular, as more than a few people attempted to correct me. It's almost like what I actually said was, it's more like a discount Hadouken! Which has origins older than the Kamehameha, which has origins older than the Kamehameha, which has origins. Apparently, all you motherfuckers missed that I said origins. According to this Wikipedia article, my dick is bigger than yours.
Hadouken! You lose!